Hey, do you need a dose of encouragement? Well, you've come to the right place. I'm Heidi Rue, and this is the Encourage Minute podcast. Every single Monday, I share a 60-second story of inspiration to encourage your week. And here's today's Encourage Minute. So, the man that this story is about today, he was haunted by financial woes since he was a really young kid, just 11 years old. His father was actually put in prison because of financial debt. And due to that, this 11-year-old was forced to work in a factory job that was grueling and rigorous. And despite having to pause schooling, he loved reading. So he kept reading, loved books. And one day he decided, you know what, I'm going to start writing because I love books. And that writing was the start of something really magical. He just grew this hunger to keep writing. And as he became a man, then a father and a husband, he began seeing a great success in writing. He even published a few books with huge success. But then it stopped. Dried up. He hit this major slump. His books weren't selling. He wasn't inspired. And even his publisher started cutting his pay. And so he began to sink deeper in debt, trying to care for his soon-to-be family of 7. And all he could think about was that trauma that he experienced, when his family was in debt. And he just didn't want that for his own family. And so he needed to come up with a way to make money and somehow end fast, like now. So he thought, you know what? Okay, Christmas is a few months away. So he thought, all right, if I can get out a Christmas story before the season, then maybe I can make enough just to cover kind of the essentials. So he set to work writing, and 6 weeks later, he had finished what he called the Christmas Carol. 6,000 copies arrived December 19th of Charles Dickens' The Christmas Carol. And all of those copies, they sold within a week. What started out as this desperate financial savior ended up turning into a life-changing, long-lasting story of the message of Christmas and how helping others changes us. And that was your encouragement for today. I think that there are 2 really encouraging things, at least that I took out from the story. One is that in the lowest times, the biggest blessings can bloom. And it's hard to remember that. Whether we're struggling financially, relationally, direction-wise, it's really hard to see what good could potentially come from it all. Which is why I love to be reminded of stories like Dickens, because he was just hoping to make, a little bit of money to cover his debt. And that turned out to be one of his most beloved books and great success. And number 2, the second thing, as I was writing this, I started realizing something. The story of change and transformation from A Christmas Carol, who does that come from? It comes from Scrooge, the guy that eventually was the giver, not the receiver. And I think so many times in my life, growth, joy, contentment, peace, those feelings have actually come once I ended up giving and not necessarily receiving. So my hope is this holiday season is that you experience the joy, the peace, the hope, and the love of giving, no matter how little or small that is. I'm actually going to take off the next couple of weeks off the encouragement to recalibrate, realign, and just think through the next year. But I will have another encouragement for you the first week of January so we can get the 2021 started off right. So make sure you subscribe. You can subscribe anywhere you can listen to podcasts. And you can also follow on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube to see the video version. All those are linked in the show notes below. I hope you, your family, your friends, everyone that you know has the happiest of holidays and a very Merry Christmas.